Good morning, fourth grade artists. Today we're going to start a new project where you are going to use the batik art style that we just talked about, and you're going to create a pumpkin that sort of has a printmaking effect to it. So today what we're going to do is we're going to start with our piece of paper. The paper that we're going to be using is really thick because for the batik art that we're going to do, we are going to have to add paint and water to this paper, so we need a thick piece of paper. You're going to turn your paper to be portrait style, so up and down. We're always going to write our name and our class code on the back. After you write your name and class code, we're going to flip it over. Every table is going to get at least 2 of these how to draw a pumpkin sheets. So if you have more than 2 people at your table, which most of you do, you might have to share these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this pumpkin draw. Now, whenever we do this, we also did a pumpkin study, and we talked about how pumpkins are in different shapes and sizes. So if you want your pumpkin to be tall and skinny, you can. If you want your pumpkin to be shorter and a little bit wider, you can. However, I am going to challenge you to draw big and fill up your whole piece of paper. So the whole key to drawing big is this first shape for your pumpkin that we're going to start with. It needs to be pretty big, because if you draw that super tiny, then the rest of your drawing is going to be tiny. So I'm going to start in the middle of my paper. I'm going to make my pumpkin a little bit taller than the pumpkin on the other paper. Notice that this shape is not even. It's a little bit wobbly, but during our pumpkin study, we probably talked about how pumpkins are different sizes and their lines aren't always straight. Actually, they're probably never straight. Now I'm going to start overlapping my pumpkin lines. I'm starting at the center point, bringing it out, and then curving it back in. The more layers you add to your pumpkin, the more it's going to start to look like a pumpkin. So I'm going to add a few more. Starting sort of at the same spot, bringing it around and curving it back in. And voila, I have the shape of my pumpkin. I noticed on my pumpkin it's a little lopsided, but that's okay because we know that pumpkins aren't exactly even, okay? After you do your pumpkin, I'm gonna add a stem. So I'm gonna start with an oval shape to make it look 3D. I'm leaving a little bit of room in between my pumpkin, drawing that oval. This also shows you sort of how to do it in your drawing guide. And then I'm gonna start at the edges of my oval and curve it back in. I noticed at the top, I'm gonna erase some of these lines to make it look like my stem is sort of sitting at the top of my pumpkin, like so. Now friends, if you want to add leaves to your pumpkin or twisty twirlies coming off your pumpkin, you absolutely can. I'm not going to for this one, but if you want to, you're more than welcome to. Now, this is not on your drawing guide, so watch. After you've drawn out your pumpkin really big, I'm going to draw a line that goes underneath my pumpkin. I'm not going through my pumpkin. This is just going to help make your pumpkin look like it's sitting on ground and not just floating in the air. Underneath my pumpkin, this is where I'm going to draw some different leaves. Maybe I want to do one coming out this way. Maybe I want to add some curlies coming off, just to give it a little more to it. All we're going to do today is focus on drawing out your pumpkin, making it big. Notice that on my pumpkin, I drew really lightly because if you need to erase, you can. Next week, what we're going to do, we're going to use some chalk, and our waxy material in the batik art is going to be oil pastels. So when we start our pumpkin, we're going to do an oil pastel, and then I will show you how we're going to add our ink or our paint to make a print.